I'm Austin McGlawn. I'm from Columbus, Georgia. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, and I designed the Clever Girl for Columbia River Knife and Tool with the Forged by War program. I spent almost 3 years in Iraq, moving through the desert, and that Persian blade style just really caught my attention with how effective it was. It's kind of shaped like a raptor's claw. It's got a fine tip that you can use for delicate knife-type situations and a broad, long cutting surface. It's very strong. This SK5 is great stuff. It's very hard and very sharp. This G10 is textured with a CNC mill. It gives you some great grip, and even with gloves on, or guys with big meat hooks, it'll be easy to grab. The design idea, especially behind the sheath, you notice how there's no safeties or snaps or things to fool with. I wanted to make it so it worked with gross motor skills. You're not trying to fumble with snaps to get it out, and it locks in there very good. These are great knives. You get to do something good with your purchase. 10% of the profits all going to the Green Beret Foundation, taking that money and using it to help guys. I've met some of the finest human beings on this earth through that program. I'm Austin McGlawn. I'm from Columbus, Georgia. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, and I designed the Clever Girl for Columbia River Knife and Tool with the Forged by War program. I spent almost 3 years in Iraq, moving through the desert, and that Persian blade style just really caught my attention with how effective it was. It's kind of shaped like a raptor's claw. It's got a fine tip that you can use for delicate knife-type situations and a broad, long cutting surface. It's very strong. This SK5 is great stuff. It's very hard and very sharp. This G10 is textured with a CNC mill. It gives you some great grip, and even with gloves on, or guys with big meat hooks, it'll be easy to grab. The design idea, especially behind the sheath, you notice how there's no safeties or snaps or things to fool with. I wanted to make it so it worked with gross motor skills. You're not trying to fumble with snaps to get it out, and it locks in there very good. These are great knives. You get to do something good with your purchase. 10% of the profits all going to the Green Beret Foundation, taking that money and using it to help guys. I've met some of the finest human beings on this earth through that program. I'm Austin McGlawn, and I'm from Columbus, Georgia. My knife is the Rakkasan, derived from my old unit. I was in the 187th Infantry, 101st Airborne Division. In World War II, they were the first paratroopers the Japanese had ever seen. So they didn't have a word in their language for paratrooper. So the Rakkasan is Japanese for men falling from the sky from umbrellas. When I originally started this design, I wanted to make something that was a tool that could also be a good weapon. And then I carried it and beat the hell out of it for a while. See what kind of abuse it could take, and I was very pleased with it. So I sent this to CRKT, and they beat it up for a while, and then they used it as the model that they built the Rakkasan off of, with very minimal changing. You've got a really good point for detail work, skinning, slicing, but then it's got that recurve, so it's got a lot more power when you chop. It cuts like a knife that's bigger than it really is. This is a really big handle. It's bigger than most of the knife handles. In fact, it's almost disproportionately large. This was designed to be carried on equipment. I wanted it to be something with no mechanical snaps or anything that you could access very easy. It would come into hand, ready to use, even with gloves, in the cold, in the rain. You could do whatever you needed to do with it, and it was done, you could get it away really easy. Originally, I did my Carta, they moved to a G10, and honestly, I kind of like the texture on the one they did better because it's a little grippier. It's just really neat to see how you can go from my handmade design to something that CRKT produces for its people. It's just really amazing. And the best part of that for me is the way that it gives back. The Forged by War program is something I've been honored to be a part of each year. Veteran knife makers use their combat experience to help develop tools for the next generation of warriors. Each of the makers gets to choose a charity that means something to them. Columbia River donates 10% of all of its proceeds from this as the profit to the Green Beret Foundation, which is my charity of choice. I like the fact that if you want one of my things, you can go out and help an outstanding organization because I'd rather them benefit from it than me. It's just something that's very humbling to be a part of. I can't speak enough to that.
75 years ago, an American icon was shaped. A nation at war called for more than just a blade. Using surplus files and recycled airplane canopies, Hoyt Buck crafted history. Fueled by faith and determination, these knives ignited a family tradition. Al Buck refined the design. That knife stands as a testament to the quality and craftsmanship his father set forth. Join us as we celebrate the 119 Special. Once a vision, now a legacy. Buck Knives, edge of a legend.